Okay, it just got cut off because I got excited. I was like, counter narratives, that's the word. That's such a good word. And I had to write it down. But it feels like so important what you were talking about in class with the meditation being like, don't just read it, like feel it, like let it be true. And like I don't like hearing these counter narratives that are presented like in White Fragility or in the Deepak Chopra book, like I can't just like hear them. Like I need to let them seep into me and like affect me and change like the stories that are going on inside of me so that I can change how I am. And like one of the ways that that has happened is like I've been really scared of silence and like doing a lot of things to avoid it, and that's like such an old pattern. But one of the things in the one of the laws is like I love what he says about like self-referral rather than object referral. Like I've been thinking so much about like how he also talks about relationships as mirrors, and how like so often when I look in the mirror I'm like looking to see how other people see me rather than how I see me. And it's like so much of my life is lived in that ego story of like, oh, like am I doing what like I should do, which is defined through other people's eyes. And there's like that outsourcing of my value in this world, and like outsourcing of who I am, like outsourcing of people defining me, externalizing that, like placing that onto other people. And there's such like a want to do that for like other people to do that, to put that on people. And it's like I'm so appreciative that I was given like the words to be like, oh, like to notice myself doing that, and then be like, oh, that's like I'm doing like object referral reference, well, something like that. And rather than like self referral, and like that gives me an opportunity to shift it and be like, oh, like actually like how am I seeing myself, and like letting those things pass, and like not being over attached to the stories and being like, oh, these are mine. It's like, well, I picked those up somewhere and I can put them down right fucking here, like again and again if I have to. And with silence, like I had to break the story that like I'm scared of silence, and the like I've been having a really fucking hard time like the past week, and just being like crying like when I wake up in the morning and being like, I don't want to be in this life. Like, and it doesn't feel like I'm wanting to die, but it's just like, where's my life force? And then it's like, well, like let's fucking try, like I don't know. I on hearing that like the stuff in the book, I could so easily be like, oh, that's just bullshit. That's just like, man, like it wouldn't work for me. But like I needed to have an openness to letting it change me for it to change me. And like there's something about like believing in the story, like having a willingness to believe in a different story, because the belief is where like the weight comes from, like the weight that it carries and the impact that it has. Like if you're just like moving your mouth in a way but like nothing's changing the belief, then like how is it going to change? So yesterday I was just like running the like normal character script, and then was like, I'm gonna like sit for 10 minutes just in silence and like practice non-judgment like they talk about in the book, and like just like be still. And there's like turbulence that's come up in that, and then it passes and I let it pass. It passes when I let it pass. And I've like, and then I did it for like 30 minutes before class today, like right before I came in. I just like sat in my car and like was like letting all of these thoughts pass and not becoming attached to the fact that they were coming and being like, ah, like mass, like I'm not doing this well, just like being like, oh, like what he talks about, like, oh well, like there it comes and goes, like not becoming like super fixated or obsessed with them. And then like I had this beautiful like spark of inspiration and was like, oh my god, like this whole poem just fell into my lap and like it all makes sense and it all goes together. And then that went away too, and I was like, oh my god, no, like come back, like, oh, it was beautiful. And then I was like, oh, I just need to let it go. Like it came and like it went, and that's the point. Like, and it was really beautiful to like be like, that's okay, like that is what it was. And like it, there was just such a clearing that took place. And like my intention with that was like, I was like, what is my, and it like immediately clarity came. And it reminds me of what we did in like the dysfunctional family last summer when you were doing Reiki with me, and I had that huge thing happen. Like you said something about like finding a prayer, and I prayed for clarity. And like sometimes I've gotten mad about that and being like, this is too clear, but like then the fog comes and I'm like, oh, like I really need that clarity. And like I feel like it's so valuable to like take that time to allow the sky to clear so that I can see. And like I was able to see much more clearly in the class and just be present rather than like caught up in all this turbulence and all these wisps of thoughts. And um yeah, I don't know, it feels like it's changing my life dramatically, and it feels like I wouldn't have been able to show up so presently with that experience that I shared in Psychology of Race and Racism if I hadn't been practicing that. Like, and I was noticing when I was like I had that this feeling come, and then I got curious about it and then discovered that that is what it was about, like my experience with this Haitian man. And I was like, oh, like it is in my integrity to share what just happened. And then was having all these stories come up and being like, there was a voice that was saying, oh, but like you you just want to say that to prove something, like you're just trying to say this to be like the ego was coming in and being like, oh, but like why are you saying this, like why do you think your voice is valuable, like why do you think what you would have to say is worth something, and like you're just doing it to like perform doing this work. And then like was coming up with all these reasons not to share it. And I think really what was behind that was like being afraid of how other people would see me in this act. Like that's really what it was, of being like, oh, are people going to perceive me this way, in this performance way? And like just breaking through this and like practicing non-judgment and practicing that passing and that distance and like the stillness that I cultivated beforehand, like was so valuable. And like working through that and coming to a place of being like, that actually doesn't feel true. Like it feels like it's within my integrity to share this for me, like through my eyes. And like to like there's challenge in that, of being like, this is my truth, and like it's responsible of me to say this, and like I want to be accountable to this, because like this is really fucking sad and painful, and I want to dispel that. And like I really appreciated what you said in class about like, feel that being lifted from your grandchildren, like that. Yeah, that definitely, it felt like a release. And like yeah, it felt really good to say that. And also um I was telling myself that it would be hard, but it felt easy. And like it felt, yeah, like what we've talked about, of like, okay, I'm coming over time, so I should probably stop soon. Yeah, thank you.